Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Craig Burrell, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Warrant Officer Greg Maxted. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors and students on behalf of the following school. From Victoria, St Mary's Primary School, Bairnsdale. Please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Children, you may sit. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the hearts of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private Leo Phillip Borowski. Leo Borowski was born around 1886 in Penwitham in the Clare Valley, South Australia. His parents were probably immigrants from Russia or Poland. Very little is known about his early life, although his childhood was probably troubled, and he was in trouble with the law for petty theft and trespassing as a child. He was educated at Seven Hills College, where he was a popular and well-known as a sportsman. Borowski went on to work in Broken Hill at a number of stations on the Murray River. Borowski married Amelia Pollard in Broken Hill in 1911. His son Leslie was born the following year, and the family eventually settled in Mildura, where Leo worked as a bootmaker. Leo Borowski enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force in December 1914. After initial training, he left Australia the following May on board the troop ship Euripides. Borowski seems to have spread the story at home that he served with the 9th Light Horse and was wounded as many as 5 times. His service record, however, indicates that he had been posted to the 24th Infantry Battalion and was sent from Egypt to Australia for an operation in August 1915. In September 1916, Leo Borowski was transferred to the 32nd Battalion and left Australia on board the troop ship Commonwealth to once again attempt to serve overseas. On the journey to Europe, the Commonwealth stopped at Cape Town and Borowski failed to reboard the ship after leave. He instead completed the journey on board the troop ship Karoo. This was the first of a number of instances of absence without leave on Borowski's record, which resulted in a number of different field punishments and several months of forfeited pay. The worst of these occurred in early 1917 when he went missing for nearly a month and was sentenced to undergo detention for 60 days and forfeited a further 3 months of pay. In July 1917, Borowski was transferred to the 48th Battalion. The battalion rotated in and out of the front line during the winter of 1917-1918. In March 1918, the Germans launched their Great Spring Offensive, pushing the Allied lines to breaking point in several parts of the Western Front. On the 26th of March, the 48th Battalion was mobilised to meet the enemy, but with rumour and counter-rumour swirling, they were sent to several different places before finally encountering the Germans near Millencourt on the Amiens-Albert road 2 days later. At around 4:30 am on the 28th of March 1918, the Germans attacked in strength and came back another 8 times as each assault was repulsed. The enemy managed to get through the 48th's line at one point, but was pushed back out, losing a number of prisoners. Despite the confusion and the desperate fighting, the 48th suffered a relatively small number of casualties and prevented the Germans from breaking through. One of those killed was Private Leo Borowski. His manner of death is not recorded, and his grave in Reedmont Communal Cemetery Extension has no epitaph. He was about 32 years old. On the 8th of November 1919, Leo Borowski's only child, his son Leslie, died of acute meningitis, aged just 7. His wife remarried a year later. Leo Borowski's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. Private Borowski is located in the middle of the front row. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Leo Phillip Borowski, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. Thank you. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial, and we wish you all a very good evening.